ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Wednesday, March 8th. You know what that means. It means it's time for The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line is open at this hour. It's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That is your direct line into the program this afternoon. And you can also find me on Twitter at Paul Swann. We'll get those checked here in just a few moments. But, of course, it's open lines today for you. Give you a chance to talk about whatever you might want to talk to me, the host, about. And I will read your text. Every single one of them, I will read them. So one more time, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Let's start with softball action earlier today. I don't know what they battle for. In football, it's the battle for the bell. I don't know what the trophy is. It should be something. Marshall taking on Ohio today and let me tell you, there was a good crowd there today at the Dot. Marshall wins 6-4. How about Sydney Nestor getting the win yet again? Pretty good, huh? She's all right. She does good work. So the Herd gets the victory over Ohio 6-4. That's impressive. You know why that is impressive? Because the Herd going into this one today, 16-3, now 17-3. That's impressive. Softball's doing pretty good work right now. I can't wait to see what the Herd looks like getting into Sun Belt play. I don't know if a lot of these teams know much about the Herd. We're going to find out more about this league when the Herd gets in it. But I think Marshall's got a good shot. Of any team, softball usually, they're tough. I think that's just the fair thing to say. Softball's always been tough at Marshall. Not too many down years for the squad. So Megan Smith Lyons got them. They look good. They're looking good right now. I think that's fantastic. And then, of course, we got a high school girls basketball to tell you about in the state of West Virginia. Yesterday, we were keeping an eye on that Spring Mills Cabell Midland game. I told you I was pulling for the Knights. Didn't go my way. Spring Mills in Quad A beats Cabell Midland 42-39. So it's going to look like this. Spring Valley is taking on number 2 Morgantown tomorrow. That's in Quad A. Number 1 Wheeling Park will face off against 5th-ranked Spring Mills. That's the second Quad A in the semifinal. That's a 7:15 tomorrow. The games that are going on today, we've got Tulsa to keep an eye on. That's coming up tonight, 7:15. So all of a sudden, we're all Tulsa fans now. Taking on Tucker County. That's coming up. That is the Class A quarterfinal that we're interested in. That's 7:15 tonight. So we've got 3 teams left. We have Spring Valley. We also have Tulsa. And then tomorrow we have got Wayne taking on Sissonville. Wayne's the 2 seed. Sissonville's the 7 seed. I know there's a little bit of a chip going on with the Wayne Pioneers as the 2 seed. A few in the Wayne Pioneer community thought that Wayne should be a little bit higher. And when I mean a little bit higher, I mean number 1. How these things get seeded. I hate to say this, because I'm a West Virginia guy through and through, but I like how Kentucky does its Sweet 16. It's a draw. There's no seeding involved. It's a draw. You're going to win this thing. You're going to win this thing. If the top 2 teams meet in the first round, so be it, but it's a draw. You don't know where you won your region. if you're coming out of the 16, it's a draw. It's not, okay, we're going to seed these and rank these. I don't know if that's the best way or not, but I like that system. I absolutely do. But this is what we've got here tonight to deal with. Number 2, Tucker County taking on Tulsa. Number 7, 7:15 tonight in Charleston. And then tomorrow, we all turn our attention to Spring Valley, hoping they, as a finely tuned unit, can beat number 2 Morgantown. Let's go with the Timberwolves winning that one. And, of course, we're also rooting for Wayne tomorrow against Sissonville. So that's what we've got in high school girls basketball action. We'll keep an eye on all of that right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. What else is going on today? Well, we're in that part of the week now where, since Marshall's done for at least the week until we find out on Sunday if there's an NIT bid coming, right now we're just looking at other teams. If you're a UK fan, you got to wait till Friday night. If you're an Ohio State fan, you at least get to go at 6:30 this evening. If you are a Ohio Bobcats fan, we got to wait for the Bobcats to play 1:30 tomorrow. And if you're a West Virginia Mountaineer fan, and I know there are a few of you listening, you text me all the time or find me on Twitter. I know you're out there. West Virginia takes on Texas Tech, 7 o'clock. So if Texas Tech beats WVU, I'm going to hear about it. If West Virginia beats Texas Tech, I'm going to hear about it. And you know how to get a hold of me. Twitter, it's at Paul Swann. The text line is 304-396-8255, 304-396-8255. And we talked about it yesterday, but I just want to point it out again. Marshall's baseball team beating Radford yesterday 11-2. We'll play host to Canisius series this weekend. So more baseball action as progress continues on the baseball diamond, getting that ready to go. Still got a way to go here to see that thing completed, but at least there's progress being made, and there's actual dirt being moved on a daily basis. So good luck there. So we've got the Kentucky 16 Region Boys Final to talk about as well. As again, this is the fun part of the week. You get all these tournaments. I don't know how deep you watch some of the stuff. You know, usually this time of week, it would be, okay, focusing on what's happening with Marshall, Conference USA. Yeah, this has actually been fun for me a little bit because I get to sit back a little bit. Just, you know, this week I get to be a fan to a degree. Get to watch some games instead of focusing most of my attention on the herd. Since I like the Sun Belt, I don't think it's bad the Sun Belt played last week. I actually liked it. But now I can focus a little bit more on what's happening with the high school side of things. I haven't been able to do that in a while. So I'm hoping we can do more of that if we're going to stay with this type of schedule with the Sun Belt, because we can just focus on some of these games that we don't get a chance to talk about much because we're all in Marshall mode. At this point of the week, we're heavily into Marshall mode. With Marshall and the Sun Belt, I can actually breathe a little bit and look at what's happening. And, of course, you've got the Kentucky 16 region. We're going to know the representative soon as Ashland will face Owensboro and the boys' Sweet 16. That is going to be, I think, an impressive matchup. We're going to keep an eye on that one. And we've got Ohio girls high school basketball action to keep an eye on as well, especially in Division II because we got Fairland taking on Canal Fulton Northwest, and that's going to be Thursday at 1 p.m. Division III, Wheelersburg takes on Columbus at Forsynic. That is Friday at 11 a.m. And then South Point faces off against North Adams. That is tonight, 8 o'clock at the Convocation Center, Ohio University. And we were rooting for green yesterday. Unfortunately, it didn't get done. Division IV Region 15 semifinal on Tuesday. Westerville Northside Christian defeated Green 66-56. Sorry about that. We were pulling for Green yesterday. We were taking apart all of these high school games and picking the teams we were following. And, of course, I know we have listeners near and far to the program. I got to take the most local team possible. I have to, just because. I mean, I really don't have a dog in any of these fights, but you better believe I'm taking Ashland in the Sweet 16. You better believe that. You better believe I'm taking Fairland and Wheelersburg and South Point. You know I'm rooting for all those teams in Ohio. And then, of course, on the girls' side, I'm pulling for Spring Valley and Tulsa and Wayne. I want to see Wayne and Tulsa and Spring Valley win. Could you imagine what that would look like if you said that, and there's 4 classifications here. There are 4. There's single, there's double, there's triple, and there's quad A. Quad A. It's 4A to me. You know what? Unless someone comes down from the WVSSAC and just demands I say it quad A, it's 4A as far as I'm concerned. 4A, Spring Valley. We're rooting for Spring Valley to win the 4A championship. We are rooting for Tulsa to take on Doddridge County on Friday. We want them to get past Tucker County, and we want them to win the Class Single A championship. And in Class Triple A, we want Wayne to beat Sissonville, and then we want Wayne to move on and win the Class Triple A title. That's what we're looking for. And then we would have 3 of the 4 winners in West Virginia, Wayne County. So right now, if you're a high school basketball fan in this immediate area, in the tri-state area, these are the 3 teams in West Virginia you need to root for right now. You need to be the biggest. Cabell Midland fans, get on board. Huntington fans, get on board. We are rooting for 3 of the 4 championships to go to Wayne County. And then can you imagine? I think we would have just a county-wide parade. You would have to. You get 1 to win, that's fantastic. If you get 2 to win, that's even better. If you get 3 of the teams to win, we got to have a county-wide parade. We'll line everyone up at Bill Cornwell's house, our news director, the world-famous CK alum, Bill Cornwell. We'll line them all up at his house, and we'll go through Cerrito and Canova. We'll just traverse all of Wayne County. I don't know what order we need to do this in. Someone plotted out for me. Work the parade route out for me. But we got to stop at Austin's Ice Cream. We have to. Maybe that's where the parade is. We just all parade over to get some ice cream at Austin's. I don't know, but I'm liking the thoughts here. 3 of the 4 champions, Wayne County. Wouldn't that be something? That would be amazing. So now we got to make this. We got to will this to happen. We absolutely have to will this to happen. I'm going to be super disappointed if we don't have 3 if we get 1 champion, that's great. Okay, we got 1 champion. That's cool. We get 2, that's even better. But 3 champions out of Wayne County of the 4 classes, and only because we don't have a AA representative, can't take that away either. So that would be fantastic. And then, of course, I'm rooting for all the local Ohio teams and definitely pulling for Ashland, both in boys and girls basketball. So now you know where my loyalties lie with your school. If you are not in the immediate area, it's not that I don't like you. It's just I got to go with the neighborhood kids. Does that make sense to you? The kids that are in my neighborhood. I don't want to go home tonight like, Paul, why aren't you pulling for Spring Valley? What do you mean? We heard you on the radio. You were, no. I'm pulling for Spring Valley. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up on this edition of The Drive. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to the Wednesday, March 8th edition, The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line is open. It's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We're talking a lot about the high school basketball action that's happening this week and next across the tri-state with several local teams. Let's focus on the one team that we all are rooting for to get into the NIT, and that's the Marshall Thundering Herd. The Twitter campaign has begun. If it hasn't already, it's begun in earnest today. I just saw this a few minutes ago. Marshall threw out the Hey NIT, invite the herd. The resume. Marshall put out the resume. Here's the Marshall resume. Then you tell me, is this NIT worthy? 83, number one net ranking in the Sun Belt. That's the first item. So the net is 83. And that's pretty good in the Sun Belt. That is correct. 2 top 25 NCAA scorers. The 6th best scorer in the country is Tavion Kinsey with 22.1 points per game. And the 25th best scorer in the country is Andrew Taylor with 20.2 points per contest. Those are pretty good things to have. One of the most dynamic duos in the NCAA right now. 6 double-digit wins over teams with 20-plus wins. 6 double-digit wins over teams with 20-plus wins. And not to throw shade on the MAC regular season champs, but that's highlighted a 100-85 victory over Toledo. And not to throw shade on the Sun Belt Conference regular season champs, but that's highlighted with an 89-67 victory over Southern Miss. Here's another number on the resume. I heard throwing this out. 81.8. Number 12 in NCAA scoring. Also, most regular season wins in 76 years. Give Dan D'Antoni his props. This Herd won a lot of games. 2,641 points. That is Tavion Kinsey. That is on the resume. As Marshall's all-time leading scorer. Number 2 active NCAA scorer. Also, on the resume, only NCAA Division I team with 2 20-point scorers, and that's Tavion Kinsey and Andrew Taylor. All right, Marshall posted the resume. The social media campaign has begun. And again, I thought it begun the other night, but it's really beginning here, it seems. Is this resume good enough to get the Herd in the NIT? Is there an NIT shot for Marshall basketball? Does this get you into the other big dance? Now, keep in mind, Marshall, in its last 2 outings, lost to 2 Quadrant 3 teams. Marshall has, fortunately, only 1 Quadrant 4 loss, and that's because one of those losses moved into Quadrant 3. So the Herd's resume, as far as the numbers are concerned, 2-2 in quadrant 2, 8-5 in quadrant 3, 13-1 in quadrant 4, and 1-0 in the non-D1 side of the schedule. Those games don't count in the net. So if you're doing the eyeball test, you're looking at this and you're thinking, okay, didn't play any quadrant 1 teams. We've been down this road. Played 4 quadrant 2 teams. 2 of them were non-conference. You lost against Louisiana, which won the Sun Belt. You beat James Madison. You lost against UNC Greensboro, and you won against Duquesne. I apologize. A loss against UNC Greensboro, a loss against Louisiana, a win against James Madison, a win against Duquesne. Those are your quad 2 wins. And Louisiana right now is an 89 in the net. So that is right now your best quad 2 win. 8-5 in quad 3, 13-1 in quad 4. And we could go down the list, or we could look at it. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to belabor this point here. The question remains, though, does Marshall have enough juice to get into the NIT? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Do you think maybe the last couple of games, you look at how those games went down, maybe leaves a sour taste? Is this a good enough resume? Is this a resume that's going to make anyone that has an opportunity to select Marshall go, hey, let's get Marshall? I mean, I'm not saying it's a done deal and they're not in. I just don't know. I just don't know if there's going to be enough spots and Marshall's going to be able to grab one of them. Because we know what happens around this time of year. There are going to be teams that win the regular season but don't win the conference tournament. So those teams more than likely are going to the NIT, and that's going to take up spots. The automatic qualifiers are going to take up spots. And then there's going to be some bubble teams, and they're going to make the NIT. There's going to be some teams that you think should have got into the NCAA. They didn't. They're going to be teams that had no business getting into the NCAA tournament, but because of the tournament, getting hot, winning the tournament, knocks some teams out that possibly should have been. And we'll find out Sunday. Sunday is when we find out. Until then, if I'm Marshall, yeah, I'm doing everything I can. I'm lobbying every single day. Every single day to put this out here. And this is what the tweet said. This is how Marshall framed it. Numbers don't lie. Marshall basketball is one of the NCAA's most deserving and most exciting teams you could ask for. Exciting brand of basketball. Sellout crowds. Let's have some fun in Huntington. So this is going to be enough. Is it a done deal and we're just talking about it? We're just waiting. We know it's going to be a done deal. Is this going to happen? Maybe with Louisiana winning. Maybe with Louisiana winning, getting into the tournament. I mean, there's some other teams in the Sun Belt. I mean, South Alabama was pretty hot. Yeah, do you reward South Alabama? Hey, South Alabama made it to the conference championship. Marshall didn't get out of the quarterfinals of the tournament. Finished third in the regular season. Didn't get out of the quarterfinals of the tournament. And then you have Southern Miss, which is automatically in. Louisiana automatically in. What about James Madison? Do you look at James Madison and think, okay, James Madison might have a good shot at this as well? Would the Sun Belt get 2 teams in the NIT? Would the Sun Belt get 3 teams in the NIT? And then if Marshall is one of those teams, it's a renewed season, and all the angst goes away. All of the conversation hey, is Dan going to retire? I mean, maybe he does still. Or maybe he feels like, hey, you know what? Got a good group coming back. We've got a second opportunity here going into the NIT. Yeah, let's make some noise there. Have another go at it yet next year. NIT's a step up from CIT. But that conversation changes overnight. Everything is going to hinge on the NIT. If Marshall gets into the NIT, it's a game on and here we go. If Marshall doesn't get into the NIT, there's going to be some disappointment, and then what happens next? Is there a serious look at what was known as a pay-to-play, where you really don't get much of the gate? The CBIs at Daytona Beach, the teams that play in the tournament that used to be the CIT, not getting much there either. At this point, do you just pack it up and say, okay, we tried, we didn't get into the NIT, better luck next year, let's come back, recharge, ready to go? Is that usually the mindset of programs that think that they can make it to the next level? Because I don't entertain the argument, hey, we need to get our young guys some playing time. I don't entertain that argument because with this thing called the transfer portal, you might not have the same team you have next year. The team you have this year, you might not have it next year. Think about that for a second. It's not as if bowl games are now keeping players. Players have decided to not play in bowl games. Some of it because, they're transferring out. Some of it because they're getting ready to go into the pro ranks, or so they think, and they don't want to get injured in a bowl game that maybe not meaningful, maybe meaningful, maybe not meaningful. So I don't subscribe to that particular argument. Hey, let's get our kids some playing time, because those kids might not be here. And at the same time, though, if it's the NIT, that's different to me, because that means a little bit more to me. The other tournaments, if the kids want to play in them, if the team really wants to play in one of those tournaments, then okay, let's do it. Let's go after it. If the kids don't want to play, if the team doesn't want to play, if they're like, you know what, NIT, we'd be happy to be here for the NIT, not for anything else. You got to keep that in mind as well. Of course, these are conversations that are being had. But you can see the lobbying effort right now for the NIT. Could the herd get itself in the NIT? Could the herd sell itself, pitch itself enough to be a team that makes the NIT? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Our text line is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Welcome back to today's edition of The Drive. It's Wednesday, March 8th. We're here until 6 o'clock every evening on your drive home. And, of course, for those of you who drive with us or take us where you want to go, when you want to go, listen to us on our podcast, which you can get on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you like to get your podcast, is where you'll find The Drive from ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Did you know that there is NIT bracketology? Did you know this? I've been looking at NIT bracketology a little bit throughout the break and leading up to this, and I have yet to see Marshall enter into any NIT bracketology. I can't find any NIT bracketology that has Marshall as a NIT team. Seriously. I didn't know that was a thing. I'm looking at NIT bubble watches as well. So one site has Marshall, and it hasn't updated in a day or two. But one team that was mentioned before it won its conference tournament was Louisiana, so they're going to probably update this one a little bit. But Marshall was in the mix and won bracketology. It's not as if the major sporting websites are doing this. It's more of the affinity sites maybe that are doing this, but I'm looking at the NIT brackets that are suggested here, and I don't see Marshall listed on any of these. So I don't know what to tell you. I absolutely don't know what to tell you as far as what this is going to look like here, because you have teams like Southern Miss, Hofstra, Morehead State, auto bids here. And I don't know if you knew this, but there's CBI bracketology as well. I don't want to get into that. Absolutely do not want to get into CBI bracketology. NIT bracketology, I'm good with doing that. But no mention of the herd whatsoever. So a little bit more work to do as far as Marshall trying to, I don't want to say pitch the herd, pitch the team, but the resume has been posted by Marshall basketball why Marshall would be a great team to invite into the NIT. What says you? You think that Marshall has the resume and the bracketology is getting it wrong? And we're all going to be surprised Sunday after the NCAA selection show. We're going to sit and wait for the NIT bids, and after that, we're all going to be happy because Marshall's going to be in the NIT, or is it going to be pretty much the conclusion of the season? What says you? 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I'm interested. What needs to happen is you need a lot of auto bid teams to win. You need a lot of regular season champions just to win. So that takes away the auto bid, and then you got to go out and find teams to put in this thing. And that would help. That absolutely would help. And we'll also see what the NCAA tournament does. We're going to see a lot of Big Ten teams. We're going to see a lot of SEC teams. We're going to see probably several Big 12 teams. We're going to see all the majors there. What does Marshall look like as far as the rest of the teams are concerned? And again, how many times have we seen the net and you think, well, this team has a higher net than the other team, but yet the other team gets in as you look at these tournaments? Think about it. I don't think I have seen the NCAA selection committee go, you know what? Let's just, who are the highest left net teams? Okay, just pick them in order. I don't think it works that way. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our text line. You want to be a part of the program. We're taking your text up until 6 o'clock here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
It's our final segment. Today's edition of The Drive is Wednesday, March 8th. I'm your host, Paul Swann. This is ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We're getting closer to the start of all the bigs. All the big conference tournaments are going to be happening. We'll be watching those a lot this next few days. Then we'll get into Selection Sunday. I'm looking forward to it. We got March Madness coming up here soon, and then this is going to be a fun week for me because I love the Sun Belt playing a week early, and then I get to sit back and actually just take some of this stuff in. So I'm excited. Win or lose, Marshall winning or losing, I think we can all agree this is going to be a fun week for watching college basketball. So I'm excited about that. Don't forget basketball action beginning tonight in the Big 12 tournament. The West Virginia Mountaineers taking on Texas Tech. Can WVU make a run? Is WVU set to make a run and lock itself into an NCAA tournament bid? I think with a win against Texas Tech, I would say WVU's got a strong case for an NCAA bid. Got to get past Texas Tech, though. Get Texas Tech, I think that locks you in. If not, you might have to wait till Selection Sunday. I don't think there's any lock there. Beat Texas Tech, I think you're good. Whatever the case may be, we're going to keep an eye on all these games this week. And, of course, we've got March Madness coming up the following week. A lot of tournament to tell you about, and we'll do that here coming up next week when we get the final schedule, which games we're going to be able to carry. We've got the Big 12 tournament coming up. We've got the SEC tournament coming up as well. We'll have UK on our sister station, 92.7 and 98.5 The Planet. We'll have Kentucky as well there. And we've got the Ashland girls in action tomorrow. That's going to happen on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. So we've got a lot of basketball action coming up over the next couple of weeks to get ready for and to get into. And then we'll all huddle around the radio, hoping that we hear Marshall's name. NIT, maybe? We'll see. We'll find out. That's all coming up, hopefully, here in the next few days. We'll get some clarity on that, and then we'll all maybe meet back at the Henderson Center. I would love to see the Herd get in the NIT, but wouldn't it be terrible if Marshall got in the NIT and then Marshall's got to go on the road? Like, okay, you get an NIT bid, but you're going on the road. Now, Marshall might be able to make a case for a home game if chosen. Capacity's been diminished, yes. The sellouts have increased, yes. I think the Henderson Center, the seating capacity is just about right now. It's been a while since I've seen a full house in there, and not on a consistent basis. So I think the capacity is just about right. I don't know if we're going to see a new arena anytime soon. I would love a major overhaul of the arena. A down-the-line project for the arena. Yeah, make it look a little bit more modern. I'd redo the seats. I know the seats were redone many years ago, but I would redo the seats. I'd redo the upper seats. I would try to come up with a more rounded look for the seating, bowl it in as best you could. I'd like to see that. I also would like to see more creative use of the space above. Maybe you could create some sort of situation where you've got seating up there, but maybe it's safer, and maybe you could do something with, skyboxes. Try to increase your point of sale as well. Do some things like that. I know I'm just throwing things out there at this point. Because I saw Steve Ballmer. Y'all know Steve who Ballmer is, right? LA Clippers. And he was out there all excited about, get this, Intuit Dome is slated to open ahead of the 24-25 season. New arena. And Ballmer is excited about the signature feature. 1,160 toilets and urinals. That's the selling point. On that note, have a wonderful evening, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.